Welcome to the Greyhawk DJC podcast. In today's podcast, we talk with Brandon Johnson, owner of Johnson Landscaping and Etc. in Dallas, Texas. We hope you enjoy the podcast. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So we don't know each other, and we reached out to you by email.
Yes, sir.
What made you reply and want to do this, I guess?
Well, for one, I checked the YouTube page and it looked pretty legit.
Okay.
You had a couple videos on there, and I could tell that everything you said was accurate. That you were getting started and just looking for some good people to interview, and the interviews you had were really good. So
Okay.
I felt like it would be great to be a part of what you're doing, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for myself as well.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Do you get a lot of these emails?
No,
People asking you to do this?
not like about a podcast. I have fake clients, but hit me up on Facebook. But other than that, no, sir, not like this.
So usually we start out by getting to know you more. Mm-hmm. So tell us about where you're from, your background, your history, and let the audience kind of get to know who you are.
Okay, yeah. All right. So I'm originally from Houston, Texas.
Okay.
I ended up moving from Houston when I got to like the second semester of ninth grade, and I moved with my father to East Texas, Lovelady, Texas.
All right.
Graduated from there, and then I ended up moving to Dallas to go to UNT, University of North Texas. I ended up graduating from there in 2016 with a mechanical engineering degree and a minor in business management. So,
okay.
Got out here and kind of started working and got stuck in Dallas.
Do you still consider yourself a Houstonian, or you?
I do, because it's still Houston everything. I'm sorry.
Seriously?
Yeah,
oh my
I still
gosh.
root for everything
Right.
Houston.
So now you're out of school.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing after that then?
Oh, so I'm a full-time engineer. I'm actually a safety engineer by job title. So yeah, that's what I do every day.
Okay. Tell us what the safety engineer does, I guess.
Yeah, so safety engineering is like a newer thing over the recent years. Basically, they want to have a person that has an engineering degree work in the safety departments to better tackle safety issues and get to the root cause during investigations and things like that.
Okay.
I've been doing it for 2 years. So the last 2 years, that's what I've been doing.
So you come in the office, what's your daily day like, I guess?
So coming to the office, so COVID has been a real big thing that's been impacting my job. So I've been helping with ensuring that we're keeping all the employees safe when it comes to COVID. And then, there's 2 different shifts. So usually first thing I do is walk the floor and just look to make myself available in case there's any ongoing safety issues or things like that. And then bunch of presentations and things like that, trying to be proactive to keep the people safe up there.
Okay. And how long you been doing this for?
So I've been an engineer in the field for 4 years, and then I've been a safety engineer for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, prior to being a safety engineer, I was a manufacturing engineer. So
oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Oh, wow. How long were you there for?
4 years total.
4 years total?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
wow.
sir.
And so all this time while you're working, are you thinking about being an entrepreneur? How'd that come about?
Yes, so it's funny. When I was in college, my second year, so like 2010. So it took me a while for college because working full time and going to school.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was working at Lowe's full time, and then because of school, they had to cut my hours due to availability. So I had a customer that came into Lowe's. And she would come in quite often, and she made a lot of people joke, hey, well, I worked in the garden center. Okay. And people joke, hey, will you come and take these home and plant them for me?
Right.
And they had just cut my hours. I went from like 40 hours to like 20. So I needed to pay my bills and stuff. So I was like, hey, well, if you're serious, I sure will come plant them. And I planted her plants, and then she referred me to her neighbor. And then it just went from there. So
you didn't know this person?
No, sir.
But she just asked you because she thought you were friendly or something.
She was real nice. She thought I was a nice employee up there because sometimes during the spring, it's so many people up there. It's hard to get employees to stop and really help you. Like they'll point you in a direction, but I would walk her to where she needed, and she was like, hey, you're nice, would you mind coming over here to plant my plants? And I was like, yes, ma'am, I sure will. And, and I just went and planted her plants, and she turned into my best client because she really gave me an opportunity to build my portfolio of pictures. I did retaining walls. I built pergolas, put up ceiling fans, all type of stuff for this lady. and she gave me the opportunity to put pictures on Facebook and create my Facebook page.
Oh, wow.
So,
How long ago was this?
This was probably like maybe 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah.
Where did you learn how to do all this stuff?
So it's funny. So in high school, I started cutting grass and stuff my junior year, and then that kind of opened up the landscaping side of things. And I stopped doing it until this moment where this lady reached out to me about.
Were you getting paid for the cutting grass?
Oh yeah, yes sir. In high school, yes sir. Yep.
You just actually knocked on doors, I guess. Or?
To be honest with you, yes. So it was one spring break my junior year, and to be honest with you, I was broke. Okay. And I was like, me and my little cousin, I was like, man, look. You know, we're not doing anything. We're not going out of town. Like, let's go knock on some doors and see if we can cut some grass. And that's what we did. We went around, knocked on doors, and then people allowed for us to cut their grass. And then the neighbor will let you cut their grass and so forth.
How many customers did you get?
We probably had, on a consistent basis, maybe like 5 or 6 people.
Okay.
And then in the midst of that, if they had other things they needed done, like, hey, can you trim this tree? Can you do this? And my dad had all the tools I needed, so we would just go back home, go through his shed, and get what we needed, and go back to the job. So I actually paid for my first college classes and my SAT and ACT from cutting grass. And
wow.
Yeah.
So how many doors did you have to knock on to get those 5 or 6 customers? I guess.
I think at first we knocked on about 3, and then the other 6, the other 3 just came from like their neighbors from there.
So the first 3 people you knocked on, they.
Oh no, not the. I'll get what you said. So we probably knocked on maybe 5 doors at first to get the first 3. So everybody didn't let us cut their grass at first.
But that's a pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was actually surprising. We didn't expect to get people to allow for us to cut.
And they didn't know you at all.
No,
there's no connections.
Well, they didn't know me, but they knew of my father. Okay, or they might have knew of me from playing sports in school. So it was a small town,
right.
East Texas. This love lady, it was like 608 people at the time.
I see.
According to the sign.
Right. So when you got that first customer, how did it make you feel?
It made me feel really good, and it motivated us to keep going because the first job that the person said yes to us about, that was actually one of the bigger yards. So
I see.
So once we did that and went to the other people, they might have said no at first, but then seen how nice we were doing their yard, and then allowed us to start cutting theirs.
Okay, and you have no training. You just kind of did this and liked it, and you got good at it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just trial and error. I mean, we had been doing chores around the house, cutting the grass, so that part wasn't out the norm. I had been, that's one of those things that I've been doing for a while since a kid. You get out there and help your father, my dad or cousins,
right,
cut the grass, and just from there took those same lessons and applied it to what we were trying to do.
So how do you go from cutting grass to doing all that other stuff? Like, where'd you learn how to do everything
So
else?
To be honest with you, it was working at Lowe's. I'm truly thankful for being able to work at Lowe's the 5 years that I worked there, because I worked in a garden center for 2 years, and while I was there, I worked under a good manager that knew all the plants and gave me opportunity to, I looked at all the labels on the plants every day if it was slow, just to understand how big they get, the zones they grow good at, that type of stuff. And then just having somebody to ask questions to. So, oftentimes when you work in retail, you have a lot of people that will come in and act like they know more than you, than the person that works there. And that's fine because I don't always have the answers. So instead of taking that as a challenge to prove myself, I looked at it as, okay, if you know more about this product than me, I'm gonna pick your brain, and then if the next customer come in, I have a better answer for them because, hey, I talked to a guy that told me that this works better than this product, and I'm not sure, but based off what he said, I would tell you to go with this one, that type of deal. So talking to people, so from working in the garden center, I learned how to lay retaining walls, and I had never done that. I learned how to do fencing from working in the lumber department for another year and a half. Again, just talking to the customers and, hey, why do you use this blue bag of concrete versus this yellow bag of concrete? Right. And or why do you use the metal poles? And if you're using the metal poles, how do you get the wood to attach to the poles? So just asking questions and being vulnerable allowed for me to get all this knowledge about these different things.
This is really interesting for you. You just sponged everything in, right?
Yes, sir. Pretty much. That's pretty much it. I saw that, doing landscaping was giving me an opportunity to stay afloat during college, and then fences was something that was almost like something that I wanted to do, was very interested in doing, but I had never done. And then the first time I did one, and the reaction I got just blew my mind. I think I had 10 people stop on the side of the road and even come into my client's yard, you know, trying to get my phone number. So
oh, wow.
That was after my first fence. So that first fence is still on my Facebook homepage now.
Oh my gosh.
It's still one of those pictures because it just took off so much.
And you're doing this while you're studying to be a mechanical engineer.
Yes, sir. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was just determination, I guess.
I don't like people like you.
Oh yeah.
Just do everything. Oh my gosh.
Try to.
All right, so you get your first client at Lowe's.
Yep.
All right, and then how did you get the second one?
So when I did her landscaping, you know, like I said, she kept having me come back. I did her plants, and then she had me do a retaining wall. And I know that it has to be level, so I just worked as hard as I could to make sure that the foundation of the wall was okay, so that when I put the bricks down, it was all level. And once I had the retaining wall and those flowers planted, it stood out so much that when her neighbor asked about it, she just told them who did it for her, and that's how I got the second client.
But you're still Brandon Johnson. You're
Yes,
not.
sir.
You haven't formed a company yet.
Sir.
Are you thinking about forming a company at this time?
No, to be honest, not really, because at that time I was still working, you know, like 20 to 25 hours at Lowe's, and then I was still full-time student. So I would get off of class and go to work from 2 to 11 if I could, or, you know, 5 to 11. So it was kind of hard to do too much. So I might do one job on the weekend or, you know, something like that. So I was just taking pictures of everything, but it didn't really start to click until after I did. So I did the second, the neighbor across the street, did her landscaping. And then she referred me to the caregiver that was the caregiver for her mom, one of her relatives. So this was actually So this was in Louisville. So she referred me to somebody in Lantana. So when I went to Lantana and saw how beautiful the neighborhood was, and I did work around there, and that client wanted me to continue to come back, then I started to think, okay, maybe I might be on to something, because this is a beautiful neighborhood, and, you know, everybody that sees what I'm doing, like the neighbors come out and is like, hey man, you know, that's nice. When you get a chance, can you come look over here? So that's what kind of started that thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did that thought like actually take into action? When did you actually make the company?
So I think it was one time where I mean they cut our hours even more from the 25 or whatever. So they like no lie, I can't make this up. So for a 2-week period, I had 8 hours total. So for a check, so 4 hours one week, 4 hours the next week.
This is engineering job?
No, this was still at Lowe's, still
Okay.
at Lowe's. So I had 4 hours for 1 week, 4 hours the next week. So I mean, my check was nothing.
Right.
So now it forced me to have to figure out how to get this money for my rent and things like that. So I started reaching out to the people I did work for and asking them, hey, is there anything I can, do I need to come back and look at anything? How's it going? Did anybody compliment it? Do they need any work? You know, that type of thing.
Right.
And when it generated work for me, it kind of opened my eyes like, well, if this job is not gonna give me what I need, maybe I can create that opportunity for myself.
Right.
So that's when it kind of the light bulb went off, and I remember like yesterday I was kind of sitting back on the couch, just kind of pondering about like how I was gonna come up with money for my rent, and it was really stressing me out a little bit because it's like I'm going to class and I'm still thinking about this, like, you know. So all of a sudden, I just got on Facebook and I was looking at some business page or something, or I was looking at my profile and I looked at it was an option to add a business page.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. So I just clicked it and then I started typing things in there like, okay, Johnson Landscaping, and then I Googled Johnson Landscaping, and it's like it's already another company under that name. So I'm like, okay,
because no one's named Johnson.
Yeah. So exactly. It's like it's so many Johnsons. So it's like, you know, how can I even expect that to be? I knew it probably would be taken, but I just tried it anyways, and I saw it was taken, and then I just started looking at my pictures of all the work I had done, and I was like, and by this time I had built the pergola already. So I was like, okay, well, really, I'm not just doing landscaping. People think landscaping is just cutting grass,
Right.
you know, and it's like, it's really a little bit more than that. And I really, you know, want to show that I can do more than landscaping. So then I added the and etc. And et cetera to leave it like open-ended for people to ask the question, well, what else does he do besides landscaping? So
Right.
that's kind of, so I made that, but it took me a while to even start posting on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it probably took me another year to start posting like that.
When would you say Johnson Landscaping and etc. officially started then?
I would say between 2015 and 2016.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you're still in school at this time?
Yes, I'm still in school. Yep, I'm still. So it had already kind of started. Like I said, I was doing work, but as far as making it official, I would say 2015. I would say 2015 because 2016 the page was fully gone.
So let me get this straight. You are working at a company that you own.
Yep.
You have clients.
Yep.
You're going to school in engineering, right?
Yep.
It's not some
Yep. It was engineering.
easy major,
Yep.
right? And then you get a job full time as an engineer too, while you're still
Yes.
doing Johnson Landscaping.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So where do you see? Well, tell us about Johnson Landscaping. What do you do?
So right now, you know, due to me working full time, I really do stuff mostly on the weekends or after work in the evening, just depending on the job. We do landscaping in general, as far as new flower beds. You know, we do tree removal. We do fences, pergolas, decks. We haven't really, like, we've done things inside, but we haven't really been pushing for jobs like that. Right now, we're mainly just trying to do, you know, fixing up your flower. We're really focused on the curb appeal and helping people increase, you know, the overall value of their property.
I see.
So that's really the hot. And down the line, you know, we'd like to, you know, do more things inside. That's why we've already kind of started with, you know, ceiling fans and attic ladders, things like that. Because ultimately, down the line, I plan on doing, you know, a little bit more with the whole company in general. Like,
Okay.
So,
How many of people are in your company right now?
so it's a good question. So technically, I would say on a regular basis, I have about, I would say 3 solid people that come out with me, but I have a pool of people that I can choose from to work. So everybody has jobs already. It's just like, you know, if you're free, I have this job, anybody available. And out of that, it's probably like 10 to 12 people.
Okay.
So.
Did it cost you any money to start this? Or were you just, say, file the company and then you just started?
Yeah, that's what I did. I just, I'm a big fan of telling people to just start where you're at. You know, we're not going to have all the answers. We may not have all the funds, but I think it's important to start where you're at. So if you don't have money to buy all the equipment you need or do what, you know, just start where you're at. If you can't afford the DBA, doing business as, which is $30-something, then figure out which name you want to get, you know, because that's a challenge too. So that's what I did. I started with absolutely nothing, and I just the first thing I did was just create the page. Then I did a DBA, and then I actually didn't even have any tools. My first tool that I bought was a shovel, and that's actually why my logo is a shovel on my page. So that was the first tool I had, and you know, I was blessed because that first client, the first 2 clients, they let me use everything that they had. So I didn't have any tools for those first jobs that I was mentioning.
Oh my gosh.
They were actually letting me use their tools, and I would just take that off of the labor cost or whatever.
Right,
so
right.
yeah, so yeah, started from that, and now I've been able to fill up, you know, a storage unit full of tools. So it's just buying. I buy a tool every job. So every job, even to this day, I don't care if it's a screwdriver. You know, every job I buy something. So that way, I'm continuing to invest in myself.
Sure. Awesome. Where do you see Johnson Landscaping in the next 2-3 years, I guess?
In the next 2-3 years, I plan on having full-time positions. I would love to have, I mean, we've had a lot of people come out that had no experience as far as doing this type of work, and I like to use this as an opportunity to mentor anybody that wants to come out, so man or woman, whoever. If they want to come out, we love to, you know, just uplift them with knowledge about, you know, working outside, because ultimately we all want to own, you know, a house or something like that one day, and it's, you know, it's cool to give people the knowledge to help them upkeep their house. So down the line, we'll definitely have full-time opportunities, and I would love to get involved with a building company to where we can get into these new residential areas and start, doing good work, across the board.
Okay. Where do you service mostly right now in Dallas?
Really, I'm a little bit everywhere. It's kind of random. So I mean, really, all over Dallas. We travel all over. I've even done jobs in Houston. So we do jobs all over the DFW.
So as a business owner, what are some challenges you faced? Things you weren't expecting?
Well, one of the biggest challenge that I can think of right off the top of my head is putting faith in the wrong people. I think that sometimes, I can speak for myself. Sometimes I feel like, when you try to get, friends or people that may not really be interested in this type of work to come out, and it's not always the best approach. Sometimes you have to open up the opportunity to people outside of your circle, so that you don't create friction between your friends and family and things like that.
Okay.
Because when you have a job and you're paying people for a job, you expect them to show up when they say they're gonna be there. You expect them to help you until the job's done. And sometimes people will come out and either they no call, no show, or they come out and I'm tired, it's hot, I'm about to leave. And it's like, well, I'm paying you for this day and you're leaving halfway through, but you expect the full payment. So it's like, things like that. So I think that has been a huge challenge. And then getting gypped by clients, we're in this to make money. And early on, I lost, I lost like $2,500, on the first of a month when I was working before. So one part of the story that I guess I didn't mention is that after the little 8-hour thing at Lowe's, I actually quit Lowe's after. Okay. So I quit Lowe's and I worked for myself for a year, and then I got the job as an engineer and started back working full time like that. So, yeah, but during that time when I was working that year full time, I had a client gyp me and my team out of $2,500 on the first of the month. So so that is what led me to create contracts and things like that, and really get better at that part of the process.
So when you faced those hurdles, what kept you going still? Like, did you ever think about, I don't want to do this anymore? Or
I did, yeah. To be honest with you, I definitely did. Like, to see, I think it was like, if it was just me that got gypped, I think it would have been, of course, I still would have felt the same way, but it was a little worse knowing that at that time I had 3 other people that were unemployed that working with me was the only income they had.
Right. And
to look at them and see the hurt in their face because we're just about done, and then realize what's taking place. This guy's not trying to pay us, and I don't have any contract to hold him accountable to this. So it's like, now it's a whole nother fight to get that, and they have bills too. So I think that was like one of those moments where it's like, okay, I can quit and then allow for not only myself but these guys to suffer on the first of the month as well, or I can dig deep and try to go get another job.
Right.
And I did. We got another job right around the corner, and it was fun. It was ironic. Got another big job right around the corner, and I paid those guys out of that job.
How'd you get that job?
Again, it was just like the word of mouth, and so he actually knew the guy who I did the first fence for.
Okay.
So he referred him. So he was one of the 10 people that stopped and asked me about.
Someone's looking out for you.
Yeah, it's definitely God for sure. Definitely, I definitely believe.
Because it was too coincidental, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Oh, for sure. Like I'm like, to this day, that's a story I still tell, because I think it was a very pivotal moment in everything that I'm doing today.
Right.
And I definitely believe I couldn't have done it without God. God gives us the opportunity to do things. We just got to meet Him halfway a lot of times. So
right. If you're talking to someone who's thinking about starting a business, they're on the fence, what would you say to them?
I would tell them, I would just tell them to try it. If you have any part of yourself that wants to be an entrepreneur, you should just try it. You're gonna have some failures. We all fail, and failures come in different forms. Losing time, losing sleep, losing money, friends, family, whatever. But I feel like ultimately, if you give up on yourself, that's your biggest loss.
Right.
So that's how I feel. So you just gotta try it, and then whenever you run into them hurdles, just try to figure it out. Because ultimately, when you have a destination in mind, you're gonna make it if you don't allow nothing in between it to stop you from getting there.
Right.
And I learned that from going to school for 7 years. It's like you know, if I don't do well in this class, hey, I got to retake it. If I stop retaking this class, I'll never make it, you know. So if I keep going, if I study for this test, pass this class, I go to the next one until it's all over with. So just put that into your same mentality when it comes to entrepreneurship. You know, you're gonna have things you have to get done, and there's gonna be obstacles in between it. Take your time and go through every one of them until you get to your goal. Right. And don't let not reaching your goal be an option, and you'll be all right.
All right. A lot of things we hear from entrepreneurs is some of the biggest detractors or disappointments come from the folks that they care about the most, right? Friends and family. These people love you. They don't want you to take these risks. Have you faced any of that?
Oh, for sure. It's funny. So my first two clients, they actually became like mother figures too. You know, like they, I mean, anything going, they always was calling, checking on me, stuff like that. So because she cared about me, the second client, Miss Martha, she actually didn't want me to create a landscaping business. She just wanted me to keep doing it on the side because she felt like she saw her, you know, her husband go through a situation where he was working full time and then started a business and saw how busy he got, how stressful he got and things like that. But I just kind of took her concerns because since I care about it too, and that's the thing, those clients became like family. So, but because I cared about what she was telling me and knew she was coming from, you know, a good place, I took the time to look at what she was saying and to make sure that I didn't end up doing what she was worried about. I think there's gonna be doubts. A lot of times people will put their doubts on you. You know, if they care about you, then they're supposed to tell you things that pop up in their mind as a concern. But your job is to sit back and decipher through it to take away what is the true point that they're trying to get you to see, and then still continue on with what you're trying to do. And ultimately now, she's super proud of me because she see that I didn't do what she was trying to warn me about. So,
and you still kind of made it.
Exactly.
Right. What's the thing you enjoy most about owning your own company?
I think the freedom of it. You know, I think having more control on just your everyday work. You know, that's been a huge benefit to me. It's like, you know, when I was working full time, it's like, or even now, I can't do it. I can't do the job this week. I can only do scheduled job for this weekend. Well, that's all I got. So if this doesn't work, then we have to look at another date down the line. But this is when I can do it. So having that ability to say when and where you can do work and stuff like that. And then I think to me, not just providing for myself, but I think creating something that's gonna benefit my son down the line, my future kids, things like that. So creating foundation for generational wealth, and then also creating an opportunity for the next person to, you know, learn something and provide for themselves is a good feeling. Because one thing I pride myself on is taking care of whoever comes out and work with us. You know, so we pay for your drink, your lunch every time you come out. So. And just because when I was a broke college student and I would go, it's been a time I've worked with somebody. You might go to lunch, but you're broke. When you got there, you're just trying to come to make some extra money. And then you look up, lunch break then came and it's like, oh, well, I'm not hungry. But really, you don't have money. So I started trying to make sure that all right, if I have anybody work with me from here on out, I'm going to feed them. I'm going to make sure you fed and that you get something to drink. And I'll just take that out of the profits from the job. And it's like, so that way, regardless of what you have going on that you may not feel comfortable telling me about, you'll know that when you come work, I'm gonna take care of you. So I think that's been the most beneficial part about it.
So how are you guys getting regular gigs now? It's Johnson Landscaping doing regular jobs, lots of customers?
Yeah. So we're doing regular jobs. I had kind of took so my son's 2, he'll be 3 this year in December. So the first year of his life, I actually took a little year off. So I stopped doing anything on the side just because I didn't want to be too busy. So we're back scheduling things on the regular, maybe like every other weekend, something like that, because I'm still working full time. And then as soon as I'm able to get some of my guys trained up to where I'm not having to go to certain types of jobs, then we'll be having more things going throughout the week.
How did COVID affect you guys, or did it?
To be honest with you, I actually think COVID increased the amount of calls that we've been getting.
Right.
Which is completely shocking. I think people are sitting at home and you're looking around your house, you're seeing things that you've been wanting to get to for a while. Some things you might have tried yourself since you had the time and realized that it's way more into it than what you thought.
Right.
And then people, so we've been getting a lot of calls, and I think as people have more time to sit back and scroll on social media and things like that, so we've been getting a lot of people reaching out to us through Facebook.
Right.
So.
Right. When do you see yourself going full time and leaving the engineering world, I guess?
Well, I think. Right now, I have a couple of people that I've really been working with to try to do like some of the jobs that I feel comfortable with somebody else doing if I train them properly. So if I can get some of the employees with me to if we can get some things ironed out, then hopefully full time, hopefully by this spring. But ultimately. Hopefully within the next year. So yeah, I would say within the next year, I see this thing going full time, like full blown, and you seeing it everywhere.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir. I actually see. I feel like I've actually been the one hindering the growth right now, just because I don't have the time to really see it all through. But I feel like if I get a couple more pieces together, we might have things going for sure within the next year or two.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, Brandon, I think your story is amazing.
Thank you.
You don't see people who can own a business, be an engineer, graduate, and then continue to thrive. That's.
Thank you.
I've never heard this actually.
So I appreciate it.
But thank you so much. I think your story is inspiring.
Yeah,
so,
thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And it's funny, like the people that'll see this on Facebook, like they'll probably end up, they know a lot of personal things going on too. So I'll just say this, we all gonna have struggles, different things pop up. It's just a part of life. Like you said earlier, God is definitely, paying attention to everything. He's not asleep. So keep that in mind. Just keep pushing and persevering, and I'm just happy that I can inspire and have a good story to tell. But it all comes from just wanting it bad enough. So if you want it, you can get it.
Well, thank you. I think people need to hear this, and it's inspiring.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure.